Hello everyone. Let's read this problem together. American Airlines conducted a survey with 120 customers about which snacks they preferred to eat during the flight. The results are shown below. The company made the following predictions for 900 customers. Which predictions are supported by the data in the table? So again, our question, we're going to go ahead and box that in. Which predictions are supported by the data in the table? Okay, so let's look at our first statement. 150 customers chose nut and fruits. So let's go ahead and look at that. Nut and fruits. So nut and fruits is right here. And if we look at the justification, 20 over 120 is 1/6. And 1/6 of 900 is 150. So let's go ahead and look at what they did and do it from our perspective in the table. So we do know that nut and fruits is 20 out of, remember at the beginning they told us that the total was 120 customers. So I'm going to put that here. So we do have 20 out of 120. That is our fraction or ratio of nuts and fruits to the total. Now this would be for the 120 customers that were actually surveyed. So if I simplify that, like they're saying that they did, we would simplify. Now in this case, we know that the greatest common factor is 20. So we would divide both of them by 20. 20 divided by 20 is 1, and 120 divided by 20 is 6. So it is true that 1/6 of the customers chose fruit and nuts, right? Nuts and fruits. So if 1/6 of all customers chose that, now when we predict for 900, we can indeed say what is 1/6 of 900, which would mean 1/6 times 900. And when we are multiplying fractions, if we multiply a fraction, we need to make sure that the whole number becomes a fraction. So we're going to put that over 1. And that would be 1 times 900 is 900. And 6 times 1 is 6. Now when I simplify that, I'm going to divide 900 divided by 6. 6 goes into 9 one time. That's 3. We bring down the 0. 6 goes into 35 times, because 5 times 6 is 30. We have nothing left over, but we do have another 0 that we have to use. And so 6 goes into 0 0 times. And so 1/6 of 900 is 150. So as we look at the first statement, we did get 1/6 when we simplified 20 over 120, and we did get 1/6 of 900, and it did give us 150. So this statement is true. Okay, so now let's look at our second statement. The second statement says 2 more bags of nachos were chosen than Ruffles, because 14 minus 12 is equal to 2. Now, if we look in our table, nachos is 14 and Ruffles is 12. But this table is for 120 customers. That's what this table represents. And the question is, which predictions is supported by the data in the table if the predictions are, look at here, the company made the following predictions for 900 customers. So the predictions that are being made are for 900 customers. And statement number 2 is not using the data for 900 customers. It's using the data in this table, which is only for 120 customers. So if we wanted to find out how many nachos were sold for 900 customers, we would have to make a proportion. We would have to say, if we have 14 nachos to total, we have 14 nachos out of 120. How many nachos is that out of 900? So we're not going to get 14 nachos for 900 customers. That prediction is not valid. So 2 is out. And anything that has the number 2, we can scratch out. So now let's look at statement number 3. The company must have 315 meals of pot quinoa because 35% of 900 is 315. So in this statement, we have a percent. And so I would go with a percent box on this one. So let's look at the meal pot quinoa, and we're going to make a percent box using that information. So the part to the total, remember we will have percent numbers and we have regular numbers. So the part of this table that we are interested in is the quinoa. And so that is 35 out of 120. But we want to know what percentage of the group or customers that were surveyed that would be. So we're going to put 100% here, and we're going to solve for our percent. So that would be 35 over 120 is equal to x over 100. So 120x is equal to 3,500. And now we're going to divide by 120. 120 divided by 120 is 1, so we have x. And now on this side, we are going to divide. Now we can also simplify right now. We can take a 0 away from each one, which means we divide it both by 10. And so we can actually just divide 350 by 12. So let's go ahead and do that here. 12 goes into 36 2 times. That's going to be 0. We're going to add a decimal, decimal. And now 12 goes into 100 8 times. That's 96. We still have 4 and so forth. But we're not even done. But look at what we're getting for a percent. We're going to round it to the nearest percent. And we're going to say that's about 21%. That's about 21%. So here it said 35%. And it's not 35%. So where do you think they got this 35%? Yes, remember we had said 35 was in the table, but this 35 is not a percent number. Look at our table. It is a regular number. So you cannot just get that number and turn it into a percent, which is what they did. So that is wrong. So we know 3 is out, so 8 is out. And that means that statement number 4 should also be true. So let's go ahead and look at it. It says the customers are more likely to choose granola bar or croissants than nachos or Ruffles. So in this table, we have for 120 customers, but the ratios for these items and the ratio on 900 customers will remain the same. Okay, the ratios will remain the same even though the numbers will change. So let's go ahead and evaluate using this table, granola and croissant. So granola bars, that would be 15. Croissants, that would be 12. So 15 and 12, that is 27. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing for nachos or ruffles. So nachos is 14, and ruffles is 12. So 14 and 12 is 26. So now that is out of 120. So I could make a proportion and turn these into something out of 900, but that's not going to change the fact that this number is going to remain larger than this number because it's still a proportion and the ratios stay the same. So for this problem, I'm going to go ahead and use this numbers or this statement, and it says more likely. Okay, so remember when we see a statement like that, we're going to put this right in between. So is 27 more than 26? Yes, it is. So this is also true. And so that means that number 1 is true and number 4 is true. So D, 1 and 4 are true. The correct answer for this question is D.